Welcome to Rita Dickerson's Detroit Black History. I'm Rita Dickerson. This video is about the Barthwell's Drugstore chain, which existed in the city of Detroit for over 50 years, from 1933 to 1987. If there are any copyrighted images in this video, it is allowable under Section 107 of the 1976 Copyright Act, termed fair use. Sidney Barthwell was born in 1906 in Cordele, Georgia, to Jack and Sarah Barthwell. There was no electricity nor plumbing in their home, nor was there any public schools for blacks in Cordele, even though the black population was paying taxes. And the local church started a black school, and that's where Sidney and his brothers and sisters were educated. Sidney's father traveled to Detroit to earn more money to send down south to the family. After a while, Sidney, the oldest son, joined him, and he arrived when he was about 16 years old. A cousin of his took him to Cass High School to try to get him admitted, even though Sidney had no school records, because the black church school had mysteriously burned down and all school records were lost. The principal agreed to admit him under a probationary basis, and Sidney graduated from Cass Tech High School in 1925. Cass Tech at that time was considered a very good high school, and today in Detroit it still is considered by many the best high school in the city of Detroit. This particular building has been demolished, and a brand new Cass Tech has been erected just adjacent to where this one was located, on Grand River and 2nd Street. After he graduated in 1925, he registered at the Detroit Institute of Technology in downtown Detroit. Now, the school was located within the YMCA, and unknown to me, even though I was born in the city, I did not know there were 4-year college courses in the downtown Y. So he registered under in the School of Pharmacy. There was a School of Law, Commerce, Engineering, Liberal Arts, Religion, and he did graduate in 1929. And here you see an image of the downtown Y before it was demolished. It was demolished to make room for the Detroit Tigers field, which you can see at the bottom of the map. The School of Pharmacy has been absorbed by Wayne State University, and the school is now located in Detroit's Medical Center. In 1933, he opened up his very first store on the corner of Russell and Elger Street. Now, you don't see Russell Street on the map, however, because in the late 50s and early 60s, Russell Street was one of 3 streets that were demolished to make way for the I-75 or the Chrysler Expressway. And Russell Street is now the northbound service drive of the Chrysler Expressway. The store was located at 8640 Russell Street. And here is a picture of the store at 8640 Russell Street. In 1936, he married Gladys Whitfield. Gladys was born in North Carolina, and she was a graduate of Bennett College. And she received her master's degree from the University of Michigan, and also a master's degree from Wayne State University. She was an educator and a librarian. They would eventually have 2 children, Sidney Jr., and Okosia daughter. You see his first store in the upper right-hand corner. In this area of Detroit, known as the North End, another store was opened on Oakland and Holbrook, and he built from the ground his headquarters on Oakland and Hague. He bought a plot of land at that location and set about to get a loan for the building of the property, and that's where the problem began. No bank would give him a loan. He finally found one that would, but that bank said that he would have to get a subordinate loan from the creamery he dealt with. He approached the creamery. The creamery said, okay, we'll be subordinate to the bank. Went back to the bank. The bank said, no, you must get a life insurance policy. Of course, he had a hard time getting a life insurance policy. Everybody rejected him until he finally found a company that would. But that particular company said, before we write a policy, you have to run up 5 flights of stairs, up and down 5 flights of stairs 3 times, and then have your pulse checked. And if you can do that, we'll write the policy. He did do it and survived, and they wrote the policy. The caption under a picture of his headquarters reads, in this building are the offices, the ice cream manufacturing plant, the stockroom, and a large modern drugstore. Barthwell's drug company consists of 6 stores and is the largest chain of drugstores owned and operated by Negroes in the country. That very same year, in 1941, he held his very first employee banquet. And in this picture, you see 2 employees being honored. The person handing out the honors is Reverend Robert Bradby, the pastor of Second Baptist Church, which was a very influential church during that time. Henry Ford would contact him regularly and get his opinion as to which black people to hire at Ford. As this newspaper clipping shows, on his 9th anniversary in 1942, he had added 2 more drugstores to the 3 we've already discussed, one on Hastings and Benton and another on Brush and Canfield. And he had added 2 ice cream parlors, one on Shane Street further east and one on Hastings and Warren. Here's a listing of the employees at each one of the 7 stores. And as you can imagine, the drugstore chain employed several hundred Detroiters over 50 years that it was open. Mr. Barthwell was quite a promoter, as this ad shows. In addition to making 13 flavors of ice cream, complete meals are served at 4 Barthwell's stores. Barthwell's ice cream is made in our own modern factory located at Hague and Oakland. And as this ad shows, the 4 locations of the drugstores that had restaurant service. Now, the one at Canfield and at Brush was just down the street from the famous Flame Show Bar. The Flame was located at John R. and Canfield, and local talent like Jackie Wilson and national stars like Billie Holiday performed. That particular Barthwell's drugstore restaurant was in an excellent location, considering its nearness to the Flame and other clubs and businesses located on John R. Famous businessman Sonny Wilson remarked in his autobiography that before he opened his hotel, he used that particular restaurant as his office before he opened the Mark Twain, located on Garfield near Woodward. And here is a location of another ice cream parlor. And this map shows several locations of Barthwell's drugstores in this particular area of the city. And in 1942, the second annual employee banquet was held. And here's the program. And if you'll notice, the address was given by Mrs. Christina Fuqua, who is the president of the Detroit Housewives League. Now, the Housewives League was a very important group of women of over 10,000 who would galvanize to support black businesses. They would have fairs, they had a newsletter, they would support the Booker T. Washington Trade Association, and there's a video on this channel about the Detroit Housewives League. And here are current and former employees receiving awards. And pharmacists at Barthwell's. And over the years, over 70 pharmacists got their starts at Barthwell's. And I was very pleased to see a female among the group. More Barthwell's employees, and several women who were employed by Barthwell's. And an ad urging people to tell their physician to send their prescriptions to Barthwell's drugstores. And Barthwell's also did weddings and parties, and they were urged to contact the headquarters on Oakland Street. And this appears to be a pharmacy counter at a store. And look at the prices of items in the store above. They're so reasonable. And fountain specials. Ice cream soda, 21 cents. Fruit sundae, 27. Tuna fish sandwich, 25 cents. And in 1943, the 10-year anniversary, of course, the U.S. had entered the war, and that's why a soldier is on the cover of the bulletin. And here you have Mr. Barthwell's principles in operating his stores. To operate well-equipped, well-stocked, and beautiful stores, to give efficient and courteous service, and to sell quality merchandise at lowest prices. And over the years that he was in business, he was a major employer of Detroiters. Before I forget, press the thumbs up button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Here we see a picture of Sidney and Gladys when the children were a little bit older. Sidney Barthwell was a member of the Booker T. Washington Trade Association, which was founded in 1930 at the Bethel AME Church, which was the family church of the Berry Gordy family. Berry Gordy Sr. was a member of the association as well. The Booker T. Washington Trade Association was an association of several hundred black businessmen and women. And they offered great inspiration to black business people, and they concentrated on black ownership. Mr. Barthwell was also a lifetime member of the NAACP, and he was on the board of Detroit's Urban League located at Mack and John R. He was also a member of the Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. His wife Gladys was a member of the Delta Sigma Theta sorority, and she served for president for 2 years. And in 1947, she was one of the founders of the Delta Home for Girls located at 3985 Mount Elliott. I composed a diptych painting of Sidney Barthwell, which lists some of his many accomplishments in terms of the drugstore business on the left. In 1993, Gladys Barthwell passed away at the age of 87 after many years of service. In addition to assisting her husband in starting and growing the business, she was involved in the Girl Scouts, Cub Scouts, and worked for the Detroit Public Schools. In 2004, at the age of 98, Sidney Barthwell Sr., seen here seated, was present for the installation of his son, Sidney Jr., as magistrate of 36th District Court in Detroit. And you can see Sidney Jr. To the left of the woman with the gray hair above his father. Sidney Barthwell Jr. was a graduate of Harvard Law School, and he served as magistrate for 10 years until 2014 when he retired. Sadly, he passed away last year in 2020. The Barthwell's daughter, Dr. Okosia Barthwell Evans, is a Yale Law School graduate and is the founder and CEO of the Barthwell Group, a Detroit-based strategic management consulting firm. The Barthwell drugstore chain, starting from this first store in 1933 on Russell Street to the building of a headquarters on Oakland, to, at its height, having 10 drugstores, 3 ice cream parlors, an ice cream plant, 3 patent medicine stores, and being the source of employment for perhaps thousands of Detroiters, and was a source of great pride to the community. Barthwell's drugstores started closing due to several factors: the establishment of large national drugstore chains, large supermarket chains, and integration, because many blacks started going to these other businesses and gave up on their own black businesses. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, press the thumbs up, and leave a comment. Sidney Barthwell passed away in 2005 at the age of 99. His funeral was held on East Warren, not too far from Hastings, the former Hastings, at Plymouth Congregational Church, just a few blocks from Detroit's Cultural Center, and just a few blocks from where several of his stores were located.